It is day one of the Sylvania 2020 machine. What was that?
End of day one.
Shh, don't tell anyone.
Okay.
What have you been working on?
Well, quite a few things. So I finished a good portion of the kitchen section, which is the very first section of the machine. We have like a door opening, and that's basically going to lead to what I've been building over here. So I have a couple of tricks. I have this little sponge doohickey that is going to release, and it kind of wobbles down, and it fails. But when it doesn't fail, which is like now, it releases the whisk, which triggers this ball to roll down these tracks. And yeah, I have a little cool whisk trick that I just kind of improvised when I dropped the whisk down this track. It did a cool thing. I also made these little spinning pots, which I'm going to have to re-tape further back so Lau can use these two
Because someone's
stovetops.
been a little bit fussy about dinner.
Yeah. So I'm going to move these, but they spin. They're on little, whatchamacallits? What are they called?
Ball bearing?
Ball bearing little things.
Yeah.
I plan to use these little mugs we got over here to make a little like mug domino thing. I don't really know what you call it. Just a mug chain of them rolling over, and
The Michael Fantuzzo mug chain.
And what's interesting is they actually have letters that represent each of our first names. So Joel,
Which
Steve,
is-
Lyle.
Gile, Soul, and Leave.
Yay! Joshua, Stephanie, and Lily Hevish.
That's correct.
So those are the builders that are participating right now. And if you come over here, I have a lot of stuff planned over for the kitchen section, but none of it's really complete yet. But I have a cool idea with a rolling pin to have it take the thing out and then it rolls. That's kind of is it a Pythagoras Suici trick?
It's a Carson Duffy.
Yeah, I know Carson definitely did it with like a water bottle or
Maybe
something.
it's a Pythagoras Suici. Who
Might
knows?
be. Anyway, and if
Do you want to talk about this one?
Oh,
The corkscrew?
yeah, basically there's this
Line.
weird foreign object. There's nothing really secured anywhere with this yet, but basically there's this weird corkscrew thing that does this cool motion. So I'm planning to maybe have a couple sticks attached to the ends of here and have like a ball on this little, I don't even know what you call it, little cup thing. And then when you pull this, the two sticks will come together and maybe form a track for a ball. And maybe that could actually pick up the ball as well and then have it roll down.
I'm really excited about
So those
seeing
are
this
all
idea.
the kitchen ideas as of now.
So this overall machine is also we haven't introduced Steve at all.
Hi, I'm Steve.
But yeah, this is a three-way collab with the Invention 11.
It's a three-way.
It's a three-way, and Steve Sprice Machines, and it's for Sylvania. So the idea is, we also haven't explained, this is an Airbnb.
Yeah.
This is no one's house. This is an Airbnb in Orleans, Mass. And we rented it for a couple of days to build this minute-long, quote-unquote, minute-long machine.
Yeah.
So it starts with opening the door, goes through the kitchen, as we've explained, heads into the dining room
Dining room area.
onto this shelf, into the actual dining room proper, with like the dining room table, and then makes its way into the living room, going across some more end tables, coffee tables, and couches and things, and then works its way around this way, over to the fireplace, and ends with opening a book and turning on a light on this end table. So yesterday, I'm saying yesterday, it's a recap of day one. So right now it's the beginning of day two, and we didn't do an update last night. So not a whole lot has been done this morning. So yesterday we spent most of the day just sort of mapping out the area and getting some big stuff in place, and then working on whatever we could work on at the moment. So we've had this issue with this particular surface, this wood surface, being very difficult to tape to, which has prohibited us from working on this middle section as well as this top shelf here, but we've figured out a solution, we think. And yeah, just figuring out the overall flow and improvising some new tricks using objects we didn't know we were going to have, like the cooler. Steve, do you want to talk about what you've been working on?
Sure. So I've been working on a machine, but the tricks in the machine that I've been working on are, first I did the cooler, the start of it at least. So it starts with something hitting these tongs, which rotate the broom, and that twists out from underneath the handle. And when the handle closes, and it pulls the lid closed. The lid closes, it pops that domino out, which pulls that stick to release the whole cooler. Let's see if it's set up correctly. It is.
There is water in there though, so
There is water in there, so we're not going to run it.
well, we could run it.
And
We just
could,
the bucket is right here,
if we move all this stuff out of the way.
and this is also what I've been working on. Is sort of what happens after the cooler dumps out the water. So
There are strings attached to the handle of the cooler so that when it gets to a certain point, it stops right over the edge and it tips just enough so that the water will pour out, and Lyle is going to work on the connection after the water gets caught in the bucket.
which we'll talk about after the test.
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
It works if the bucket's in the right place.
And
I might want to mark that position.
that happens about 50% of the time because we keep moving things around.
Yeah.
Then I worked on this swinging light bulb, which is going to swing from the kitchen over to this section. And then I have this trick with this box domino that rolls a light bulb out and hits a lever.
Which was hidden perfectly behind this mug, so you could not see it.
Oh, and this is this morning's work, but last night I did this. Sorry. This trick where it's gonna go from this layer down here up to the shelf, so this light bulb gets retracted by this badge thing, and it's gonna do a flip and hit the domino.
I think that went a little early,
It
but
did, but
that's the motion at least.
That's preventable, obviously.
Yep, and then later, either today or tomorrow, we're planning on doing a bit more with the dining room, because that's kind of what connects it up. So we're planning to do like a little pendulum kind of physics trick between these two lights, and just have generally more tricks here. But a problem that we were running into is that these table surfaces, the tape that we like to use, this double-sided clear tape, which is fantastic for virtually any surface, but apparently this specific type of wood, yeah, I use some over here.
That's
with
the tape we're
with
talking
like
about.
this structure, for instance, is secured.
Yeah,
using
and this
double-sided tape.
table is a different surface, and it works amazing. It
Yeah,
works perfectly.
perfect. It works perfectly for that desk over there.
Yep.
Unfortunately, with this specific wooden surface, which covers most of the surface area of this entire machine, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. It like
doesn't-
comes off super cleanly. It doesn't stick. It provides a little bit of friction, but that is basically it.
It's very weird.
I was able to get most of like the early part of the kitchen done without too much issue because there isn't a lot of big objects or like big like stuff with a lot of tension. It's mostly just like tracks and basic boards and stuff.
Yeah, it's mostly just holding things in a place that they can sit anyway.
But for most machine stuff, you need to be able to secure things that are in tension, that are the things
Right.
that are pulling on other things, and it's just like you can't do that
Yeah.
unless you have security, and you can't have security if your main piece. We can't use like glue on these tables because we don't want to destroy them. So our main essentially method for securing things is a bust with this surface. So we got some like plexiglass. I don't know where they are, but we got some like
Oh.
plexiglass sheets that
They're
we're
on
gonna
there.
layer on top of these surfaces
They are over there.
to make sure that we can actually secure things onto them.
Yeah.
And I've been working on the living room section, or at least the start of the living room section. And there are three main tricks that I've been working on. I think the first one I started was this little billiard ball chain I made using this foreign object that I found in like some drawer with like a metal tray or whatever.
We're not actually 100% sure what this item actually is.
Yep, don't really know what it is, but that's kind of the case for a lot of foreign objects in machines. If you just find stuff laying around your house, you might not know what it is, but if you can think of a cool idea, then it's worth using. And I noticed that there's 8 little holes that fit, a ping pong ball or a billiard ball perfectly in them. So I'm like, let's make a cool billiard ball chain out of this. And so I came up with this little M pattern design. And so the billiard ball chain weaves in like a zigzag pattern.
And they end each one in the holes perfectly.
And they fit in the holes really nicely. The second thing I worked on was this very Burlag Awesome sort of inspired trick with this foreign object wooden structure thing. I'm not quite sure what the structure is for.
This one we're even less sure what this object really is.
But we found it downstairs in the haunted basement, and I am using it to make a giant collapsing auto tilt, essentially. Like, the basis of this trick is very simple. The ball rolls in the tube, and then the weight of the ball causes the tube to, like, become disattached and fall down, except the actual method for the tube coming disattached is this giant structure actually collapsing all the way down. And so for that, I'm using this very heavy metal marble. And so let me
So our best guess is that this wooden thing is like an adjustable stand or easel of some kind. So
Yeah.
it's got these little sliders so that these legs can be adjusted. But we're just using it as, Joel's just using it as a collapsing, folding.
But yeah, I have this little towel on the ground to prevent too much, because it's very, very intense. As you can see, it's very loud, it's very destructive, but it looks very cool.
Very large.
And then what I've been working on yesterday with Steve and a little bit today is this wheel, which might look familiar if you've watched Domino Masters. It might look familiar if you've seen machines before as well. Basically, it's a slow roller. So when you have like a little rod with any type of like structure or wheel or weight, you can like sort of get it going, and it'll keep rolling on this surface. And it has a tiny cylinder, so it goes very slowly. But if you watch Domino Masters, this guy Ben Tardif on the team Brains and Brawn, for their pirate-themed build, used a ship's wheel as the slow roller, and I thought it looked really, really cool. And so I basically did the same thing using a bike wheel, and we attached some light bulbs because this is a light bulb company sponsorship, and attached some light bulbs to the end and made it look basically exactly like the ship's wheel, because it just has a very nice aesthetic to it. And that rolls down and triggers a little thing, which I have set up now for the connection for. So these three tricks are now fully connected, and the plan for today is basically get more tricks done in this general area, and then of course continue on the work that I've been doing in the kitchen just to get more area filled in.
Yeah. I guess I haven't talked much about what I spent yesterday doing. Most of my time was spent figuring out the connection after the cooler dumps out water. So right now we have the bucket here, and what you don't see is that originally this bench was a lot closer to the dump truck. And originally the water from the cooler poured directly into the bucket of the dump truck. Well, we had like an extra thing that it actually went into, but it was attached to the dump truck. And this ended up being very problematic for a number of reasons. First of all, it wasn't very reliable, and it was very finicky. And definitely compared to everything else in the machine, it was the thing I was the least confident in. So it was already a little bit sketchy. But then we realized, and this was kind of the final nail in the coffin, that this zip line, which we haven't talked about at all, but there is a zip line that is attached to this light fixture, and it goes from this side of the room all the way over to this side of the room, and it's attached to this little hole in the door handle. And this is probably the hardest thing to maneuver for filming. So if we think about it, the truck is right here, the zip line goes basically right above it, and you would not be able to really film this trick with the water pouring in from a very good angle. So it required some changing. So right now I will be starting the actual transition from the water pouring out to the dump truck. But that was kind of yesterday's fiasco. I spent most of the day working on this, only to then basically rip it to the studs this morning. So that was a big disappointment. But today I have hopes that I will be able to be more productive. And this is the transition up to the table. So that is day one. Any other final words?
That's pretty much
Thanks
it.
for watching.
we're just going to continue trying to fill in the space. We have 3 more building days. It is a relatively short project, so we're trying to get as much done as possible in the short time we have. And yeah, hopefully things will go smoothly.
Hopefully. It is day 3 of the Sylvania project, and we're recapping day 2. So, since the last update, we've made quite a bit of progress on connecting the entire machine together. It's really starting to take shape now, and we've actually only got a couple of sections left to do. Still going to be tough to get everything all done today, and we might not, but definitely a lot has been done since yesterday. So, who wants to talk about what they've done?
I can talk about some things. So, as of yesterday, I finished the first half of the kitchen section, so we now have this mug trick complete. And these mugs actually have our initials on them. We might have mentioned that the other day, but I think it's pretty cool. They have our initials, and they flip over and trigger each other. I also arranged the pans so now that they're not, Lyle has an available stove top to use in the front, but unfortunately I couldn't move both of them to the back, which was the initial plan, because it gets in the way of the whisk falling right here if this pot is here. So I had to like do a diagonal little pattern, but that works. That's fully connected now. Is there anything else in the kitchen you want to talk about?
This is a teacup or tea kettle rolling trick that I started yesterday night, and that's all connected now. Steve's working on the trigger for the light bulb pendulum. We've got one other idea here with a spinning spice rack that I'm going to probably work on today. And then this table is all done, as well as the shelf above. We've got a rolling ukulele, and then the connection from here to the broom is going to be a bouncing ball that I have to work on hopefully today. From here, this is now finished. This problem that I was having yesterday is now solved. Then that goes to the table, which we have a couple of ideas for. We're going to do probably 3 in total, and we know what 2 of them are at the moment. Do you want to talk about the bowl and the pendulum?
Yeah, so we're doing, the order is kind of undetermined at the moment because we might also want this table to eat on as well, so I'm thinking of maybe having a rolling placemat trick be the third trick that just goes this direction here so we still have room to eat. But regardless, aside from that, we're planning to do a little ghost pendulum set up here, which is a trick. I don't think it's not actually called a ghost pendulum. I just don't know the official name for it, but it's a pendulum physics trick where basically we're gonna have strings string attached between these 2 lights, and then 2 strings dangling down from that string with light bulbs on either end. And if we have one that starts to swing, gradually just based on the way the strings are set up, this light bulb will start to lose speed as it transfers speed towards this light bulb. And then this one will start to swing, and we'll be able to kick out a little trigger or something for the next trick, which we're planning to use this bowl sort of as like a funnel without a hole, I guess. So having like this Epco ball roll around until it reaches the center point, which will then trigger, the next trick to unfold. And yeah, so that's the current plan for this section.
And then after that, I worked yesterday. I worked on zipline coming down, or that was already done, but I worked on after that. It knocks off a box from this box tower, and then actually it is currently on the floor, but I made this fish pendulum, which actually we can just put right back on the wall with command strips, which apparently work very well. But just so you can see, the fish. One goes up, one goes down.
Goes up, must come down.
Yeah. So one goes down, and the other one goes up. That's that. I put on a little pokey hand and the Hot Wheels run. That's this section done. Got some pillow dominoes here. And then I don't remember what was left on this table, but we now have a spinning shark and the rolling wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple more things on this table.
Little hammer, double pendulum.
Yep. So the next thing to connect in the living room is the final table. So having a book open, power strip turn on for the lamp, and then just connecting this to this. So basically today's job is going to be finish the kitchen section, finish the dining room table, and then make some last little connections. So it's still going to be a race to the finish, I think, but definitely doable. And today's not even actually the last building day, technically. It's just Steve's last full day here. So we wanted to get it all kind of done so that tomorrow is mostly just a testing day. As much as possible. But yeah. Steve, have anything to add about what you're working on?
Nope.
All right.
I mean, I did that whole section yesterday. It was fun. Turned out good.
All right.
If you want me to demo it, I can.
Is it set up?
Doesn't take too long.
Okay. Yeah, let's
Some
see.
of it's set up, some of it's not.
Sure, let's see what you got. In the meantime, let's take a look at the materials storage, because I forgot to show this yesterday. So this is sort of the designated hangout room, but we've got all of my materials that I brought for this project. In fact, we're using exclusively my materials for this. So it's all kind of been shoved into this room here. We had to move one of the couches out of the living room. So it's now been moved into here, inverted against the wall, and a bunch of product boxes ended up kind of living here. But then we've got some materials from Home Depot, and then some candy. Don't look at that. So it's kind of been a bit of a struggle finding places to just put stuff, because obviously every building surface is used as a building surface and not as storage for materials. So we've got an ironing board that we've had to scrounge up from the basement, footstool that actually isn't being used at the moment, and then this folding table in the back that we found in the basement is kind of the workstation. Is this done?
Yeah.
Very cool.
So this lever, it comes from the swinging light bulb. To hit that, tip that box. This box tips and this light bulb rolls out and spins and hits this lever. That domino allows that to spin down rails, and then it rolls around in a circle to those dominoes. That ball triggers the launcher, light bulb lands in there, marble flicks that, and this zips up to here, releasing the can, which hits the book, and the ukulele domino falls.
All right.
Test.
Awesome.
It makes a little noise.
All part of the plan.
All right. So that's day 2, and then stay tuned for day 3. Okay, it is day 4, and we're recapping day 3. So the big news is that the machine is done. We were able to run a complete full run-through test yesterday, and there were in total 11 things that we took note of to fix. Some of them were reset fails. I think there were either 9 or 10 actual fails to fix. But we managed to do it, which means we were on schedule, but the schedule was very ambitious, so I didn't exactly expect to be on schedule after day 3. Yeah, does anyone want to talk about what they did yesterday?
I don't even remember what I did.
Oh yeah, the entire dining room
Control
didn't
did.
exist yet.
I did all that.
So I did that. That's one thing. So like this dining room section, basically everything I had planned ended up panning out. So there's this little ghost pendulum set up that's dangling between these two lights here. I still need to fix it so that they're a little bit higher up, but aside from that, I built this little bowl timer. So the ball spins around the bowl until it reaches the center point, and then it can trigger it from either side because there's this double hinge domino. So it doesn't really matter what side the ball hits the lever from. And then there's these unrolling placemats because we still wanted to be able to use this table for eating, and so I designed a trick that would allow us to continue to do that. So essentially there's still placemat space in this placemat and that placemat so that if we want to eat at this table we can, but they just unroll and then get released through clothespins and fishing line.
Over here, I finished this trick with the spinning spice rack. What else have we done?
Oh, I finished this trick over here with the little doohickey.
Yes.
This little doohickey thing that like compresses inward. I can't really demonstrate it because it's like hanging off the edge right now, but it like goes like this and it claps forward and forms a track for the ball to roll down.
Okay. And then underneath the zip line, we have a finale section now. So I made this trick where a lamp rolls down these rails, and I've added a funnel here for after Joel's rolling disc trick. We also have the finale, finally. So this is the book reveal and turning on the light. And we've also just made a bunch of other minor, small connections, like the connection from Hot Wheels to the fan. I actually don't know if we mentioned pillow dominoes in the last update. Were these even here? I don't know.
Probably not. I think
They
that
might
was
not
also
have
new.
been here.
But this was the original plan, was to have pillow dominoes.
Yeah.
New.
It's all new?
This top shelf is all new
Oh.
as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, do you want to
So
talk about this?
I had it ending with this thing after the first couple days. Then I added this can rolling, which tips a book, and then this tips a ukulele domino. And then Lyle did the connection where it releases a ball to bounce over to here, which triggers the cooler trick. So that whole area is all new. Yesterday I also fixed the light bulb swinging release because we finally got access to plexiglass on the tables so we can tape things to the tables. And then I don't think this was here yesterday either. I made this lever. Well, let me rewind. I made the connection all the way from the car pushing a domino off, which triggers a switch, which triggers the fan, which blows a book, which blows over pillow dominoes, and the last one hits this lever, which pushes this giant Stanley cup over here, which wedges under here, and that hits this lever to release ball, which connected to all of Joel's section. And then the last thing I did late last night was the finale, which is this falls to pull this weight up, and the book wants to automatically open after the weight is off of it because it is both powered by a double pulley but also powered by rubber bands. And then that hits a domino off, which pulls the domino off here, and that does the same thing as over there where it turns on a power strip for the lights.
So, this morning is all about fixing the things that went wrong last night. We've already taken care of some of them, and some of them were just reset fails, so those are very easy to fix. Others might require a bit more work, but spirits are high, I'm pretty sure, that we will we'll be doing quite a few more tests today, and I at least think that we are on track to get a one-take machine. I don't know about you guys, but I think
I think it's possible.
I think it's more than possible, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that it's possible is a good thing.
Yeah.
sometimes
What do you
sometimes the
think?
one take is not possible.
Steve, what do you think?
Pretty good, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.